Do you want to speak English fluently and confidently like a pro? I created a step-by-step system, a roadmap that you can follow for the next 21 days to improve your English. This framework consists of 5 main steps. Each of these steps helped me become fluent in English 3 years ago. So if you apply them, you will become fluent in English as well. But first, hi friends, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Asim. I'm a polyglot. On this channel, we help young people like you speak English fluently and confidently while enjoying the process. Let's talk about your roadmap to speak English like a pro in the next 21 days. First, I want to make this clear that this framework will not make you fluent in 3 weeks if you're just getting started. So, if you just started learning English today or a week ago, this roadmap or this framework will not make you fluent that fast. But if you've been learning English for a few months now, which most of you are, then this 5-step method will really help you speak English like a pro in the next 21 days. Let's get started with the first step. Consume English for 60 minutes per day. By consuming, I mean input skills, which are listening and reading. Depending on what your goal is, you need to choose one of these. So if your goal is to speak English fluently, then you only need listening skills. You don't really need reading skills, to be honest. You can do both, but if your goal is to speak English fluently, then listening is more important for you. According to the language acquisition theory, we learn a language by consuming it through listening. Think about this for a second. That's how children learn languages as well. When we were kids, we were listening to our parents all the time. Like we were listening to our parents and our siblings and our cousins, and that's how we really picked up the vocabulary, the pronunciation, and the grammar of our language. Now the question becomes, what should you listen to? I have to say two things here. First, listen to something you enjoy listening to. Learning English is a long game. If you're not enjoying listening, then you're gonna give up soon. So pick up something that you enjoy listening to. If you like listening and watching cartoons, then do that. If you like watching YouTube videos, do that. If you like movies and TV series, do that. Listen to something you like. Don't pick up something you don't like. Don't listen to the radio or podcasts if you don't like them. Second, listen to something that's appropriate for your level. So if you're a beginner and you watch like American movies and you think to yourself, why I don't understand English? What's wrong with me? Nothing is wrong with you. You're just picking up the wrong content. You need to find something that's appropriate for your level. So if you're a beginner, I would recommend you to watch cartoons because they're pretty easy to understand. If you're an intermediate, then watching YouTube videos and podcasts are good for you in my opinion. But if you are an advanced English learner, then I would recommend you to watch movies and TV shows and interviews with Native American speakers. Pick up one of these things and listen to it for 60 minutes every single day for the next 21 days. The second step of the framework is to learn 5 to 10 words every single day. Vocabulary is the second most important thing of a language because languages are made of sentences and sentences are made of words. So the more words you know, the better your conversations will be. The more smooth and fluent your conversations will be. But how do you learn vocabulary? Well, I have a separate video in which I explained my vocabulary learning process in a lot of detail. I'll link it here, but I'll share with you the method real quick. So I have a small notebook for vocabulary which I call my vocab notebook, right? And every time I'm listening and I hear a new word that I don't understand, I write it down immediately in my notebook. And then I continue listening. By the time I finish listening, I usually have like 5 to 10 words written in my notebook. After I'm done listening and I have some free time, I look up those words in a dictionary. Personally, I use Cambridge Dictionary for that. So I look up the word and it gives me its definition. I read its definition, I learn it, I try to understand what the word means, and then the next step I do is that I try to use those words as much as I can in my next conversation because there is one rule to remember in vocabulary. If you don't use the words you learn, you lose them. So learn 5 to 10 words every single day by using this method. It's gonna help you a lot in the next 21 days. That brings us to the next step of the framework, which is to have conversations in English for 30 minutes. Practice is hands down the most important part of learning a language. I know it sounds overused, but practice makes perfect. In order to say what's on your mind in English, you need to train your voice, your mouth muscles, and your tongue. And the way to do that is by practicing your speaking. And also, as we discussed, practice is great for remembering vocabulary and for your pronunciation. So have a conversation for 30 minutes every single day. There are so many ways you can practice your speaking, but my favorite way to do it is by making online friends and practicing with them. Speaking practice is important, but only that is not enough to improve your English fast. You need to correct your mistakes, and the way you correct your mistakes is by getting feedback from others. Because the only difference between you and someone who is advanced in English is that they don't make mistakes when they speak English. So if you can eliminate your mistakes as well, by default you will become fluent just like them. And the way you correct your mistakes is by getting feedback from someone who has higher English level than you. Here are some ways you can find someone like that. First, you can find a native English speaker, become friends with them, invite them to have conversations with you, and ask them to give you feedback on your English. But it's a very long process, it's very difficult to do that. It's very rare to find someone like that who would be willing to give you feedback. Second, you can hire a private teacher, but it's gonna be expensive because private teachers in general are super expensive. That is not something I would recommend for most people. The third way which I would highly recommend for my students is to book a one-on-one call with me. You speak with me for 1 hour, I correct your mistakes, I give you feedback on what things to improve and how. Basically, I help you speak English fluently and confidently. So if you're interested, click the link in the description below. The next step, which is the last step of this framework, is to become an English user. A lot of people stay English learners forever. I know someone who has been learning English for more than 10 years by now. Their English is great, their English is amazing, but they didn't get any benefit from English. They have not used English for anything in their life. Change your mindset from, oh, I'm just an English learner, to I'm an English user. I want you to think big. Don't just stay English learners forever. Use English for something. Use English to learn a skill. For example, I learned editing and content creation by watching tutorials on YouTube in English. Second, you can use English to start a business. English is a great way to attract international clients for your business. For example, my YouTube videos are in English. If I only made YouTube videos in Urdu, only people from Pakistan would be able to understand me. So English is a way for me to attract audience from different countries. The reason why I'm mentioning this point in this video is because once you become an English user, your English will improve very fast by default. I have been using English to make YouTube videos for the past 2 years. By doing that, my English improved a lot. Follow this 5-step framework for the next 21 days. Your English will be unrecognizable. You can and you will speak English like a pro. Alright, if you enjoyed this video, then you might be interested in that video as well, in which I shared an easy step-by-step daily routine that I followed that got me to this level of fluency in English. Basically, I talked about what I did in the morning, what I did in the afternoon, and in the evening to improve my English. Okay, I hope this lesson was helpful. See you in the next one. Bye bye.